If you are an immigrant like me, or you are the child of an immigrant and live in this country and sees what's going on right now in our borders, directly affecting the way we live, and obviously in this podcast we talk about real estate, obviously is going to affect the way we trade our properties and how we agents make money, because if the values go down and if the insecurity rises, all of that is going to be directly affected. So you want to listen to this podcast today. But please, whatever you do, these are the times to focus in the big picture. And the big picture right now is to save the house. And the house means the state, it means your country. So this subject, as an immigrant myself, someone that spent, 6 years in this country with no papers, completely illegal, I'm able to discuss this from a pragmatic, a genuine, and with the best intention for all this immigration taking place. But I want you to look at this video.
We have so many people coming into this flipping country right now, we should just shut it all down. We need a cooling off period, nobody coming in. I get attacked as being racist and misogynistic and all these different things. No. It's about love of the nation. If you bring people into the country that resent you, don't share your culture, and they do not want to learn your language, and they do not assimilate, you should probably stop bringing those people into your country.
It makes me sad to see, obviously, this was happening right now in America. Texas reported a record for a single day of migrant crossings. What are we trying to do here? Are we trying to be humane? Because I can tell you, as an immigrant, obviously, I want people that are fleeing for reasons that are being persecuted, they're being killed, they're being raped. So all that has every right for us as country. This is America, the land of the free. If you want to be free, you come to America. But there are ways to do everything. When you come as an immigrant, the way I came as a tourist. I went and I got a visa. I was going to Disney World. I said I was going to Disney World. I came in with my few bucks. I landed. I showed my passport, my fingerprints, my name, my father's name, my mother's name. Where was I going? And I decided to stay. Now, I did break laws by staying. I did break laws by working without permits. But guess what? My mindset was to grow in the land of the free, to exist in a country that allows you to do things. So what was in my mind? Go to work, do as much as I can to succeed. Now, when you come into this country with a socialist mindset, or someone always depending of the government, or someone that doesn't know how to work because it hasn't worked in their lifetime, they come to this country and they expect the same. Guess what? As soon as they cross the border, they get the orange juice and the apple juice and the quill, and you're gonna go sleep here, and these are your food stamps. From day one, they start receiving things for free. I just don't think that's the way that you welcome someone when you know is breaking the laws. You immediately should. Now, if you ask me what would I do, that's different. But it happened over and over. Now, under the previous administration, we have that under control. Now, during this administration, it's out of control. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you this right now, which is insane what's happening in our border.
New York City high school students have now been forced into remote learning because there's too many migrants, and the migrants need somewhere to live, and so they're giving them the schools. Could you imagine being a New York City resident and paying for taxes for your children to have to learn remotely so that these schools that you have paid for to be built and for your children to occupy are available for the influx of illegal immigrants? Look at this. This is incredible. There they are, a family of illegal immigrants coming in. This is the new thing happening in Brooklyn, all throughout New York City. It is shocking to me that people are still voting Democrat in this city and pretending that this is an act of compassion, that this influx of migrants are coming in because they need a better life and not because they're getting a bunch of free stuff.
Now, let's think about this. They are taking our children out of our schools. They're giving our buildings to people to stay. You can't kick them out after. Where are they going to live after? So the solution will be, let's go on this, put this stop to the border. They are migrants they're going to have to know that when they make that whole travel all the way down here, it's not going to be that easy. It's not that simple. Why am I doing this? Why am I saying all this? It's because we're in real estate. We sell and we buy real estate. Our investors want to invest in properties that you know that they're going to be worth more. But what's happening is all these people are coming in and they need a place to stay. They need medicine. They need health. They need education. We cannot have their children not going to school. They don't speak the language. We need to know if they are healthy. We need to know if they are eating. If they're not in a good environment and they're living in a place surrounded by a bunch of immigrants just like themselves that we don't know who's who, the chances are there's a big chance these kids are going to suffer mentally, are going to suffer emotionally. And what is that going to do? It's going to build into kids with more problems. So the problem of immigration in the real estate, to me, in some states, property values are going to go down dramatically because they are going to wander in the streets. They're going to be worse than homeless because they are homeless. They don't mess with you. They do their drugs and they go and sleep it over somewhere in the back of an alley. But when you have people with families looking to survive, you have to help them. It's the humane thing to do. We have to stop the border. Now, let's look at this right now, what Egypt is doing. This is the wall of Gaza and Egypt. How come they get to protect their borders? How come they get to protect their people? I don't understand. They can do it and we can't do it because every country has the right to protect their borders. They are protecting the borders right there. I'm going to show you something else right now, which is pretty critical to me. I'm going to show you something about also happening now, this time in Chicago. So now we're talking New York, Chicago, LA. Look at the airport. An entire terminal utilized to shelter immigrants.
Our team pulled up with cameras rolling, and at first we didn't see much. The city erected a black tarp to hide what was going on, and a third-party security group paid for with your tax dollars told us that was prohibited. We weren't allowed to see.
What are you doing?
I want to look inside.
For what? For what?
Inside, our team found more than 100 beds on the floor. The smell was overpowering, repulsive. Even police stations in Chicago have been turned into refugee camps. This is new video never seen before of what's actually happening inside Chicago's police stations. Keep in mind, the people who work in those police stations are paid to protect you, but that's not what they're doing. They're running refugee camps for illegal aliens.
So being an immigrant yourself, you seem to be opposed to immigration. Would you say so?
I'm not opposed of immigration, if that's what you're asking me. I'm just saying immigration, it's a benefit. Like we want the Albert Einsteins of the world. We want the hardworking people of the world. We want the people that have skills, the people that have something to offer. If you're fleeing your country and you have something to offer, come here. We should work through Senate, Congress, and we should work in an immigration reform that I've been asking for a long time. I bumped into Senator Marco Rubio, and I told him, I was in Best Buy, and he says, you know, you're Cuban. And I'm going to tell you, for some reason, people think that us, the immigrants, the Latin Americans are either Cubans, they already come with some type of benefit, papers, or Puerto Rican. They're Latin, but they're American. Those are not the only people that you got to focus on. Yes, we know they can vote for you. You got to worry about the Nicaraguans, Peruvians, Hondurans, people from other countries that look the same, think the same, act the same, but we're not the same. We don't have those benefits. He never forgot about that because since that day, I can see he's been putting his mind into the immigration and protecting immigrants. So I respect Marco Rubio for that. But immigration reform is absolutely a necessity for the sake of this country. We want the best. And when I mean the best, I mean the best. Even farmers, we want the best. But through a reform. You come in, you give your number, you give your fingerprints, you tell us where you're going to be, you work hard, then you leave, you take some time off, come back, show us that you were good, then it's fine. Now you're coming in through the border. Let's just say for a second, you're coming in through the border. We're basically creating a funnel where drug lords, coyotes, rapists, human traffickers are just waiting for this funnel to grab them and to do what they want to do with them. Now, as a Latin American like me, I always had this saying, if you're Colombian, you know what the worst enemy to a Colombian is? Another Colombian. And if you're Peruvian, another Peruvian. Because immigration forced them, makes them all of them be together. So opportunities open up for those that are looking to hurt or to take advantage of the weak one. So I am not completely opposed. I'm only worried about the amount of people that are coming into a country like this one that is very humane. Now, we, as an immigrant, I said it in my previous podcast, I pay my own health insurance, my own life insurance, my own disability insurance, my own car insurance. My son just got his car, somebody hit his car from behind, ran away. When you ran the tag, because he got his tag, he didn't have insurance. Car insurance, home insurance. We're paying insurance through our nose. And guess what? Some of these people, they don't know what that is. And they're coming and they're getting things for free. So they don't even strive to do their best because we get in the bottom of the bucket. There's a difference if someone is able to provide enough information to get a visa in some kind of embassy somewhere in the world and comes here. Those people coming through the border, those people nobody knows. And I'm going to put you a video that I can't sleep because even if we make the right decision this year and vote for the right person, this country until January 6th, 2025 is wide open. And I'm going to show you this video.
By the way, if you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're going to know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
The entitlement, guys. Wow.
Soon.
Soon you will know who I am. Someone from the Middle East. Someone from the Middle East that it wasn't powerful enough, wealthy enough, smart enough to get a visa, comes through the border, and with this entitlement, very well said, whoever is speaking to him in English, I swear it's got to be an official, it's got to be a military man, it's got to be a police that can't do anything. There's millions of people in that border, and he feels that he can't do anything about it, and he's saying flat out, wait, you will soon know who I am. America needs to wake up. That's my opinion. It's not like I'm against one. It's not I'm against immigration. It's just we need to wake up.
What do you think is creating this massive exodus?
I think this massive exodus is being created by something that is happening, and it hasn't happened in a long time in Latin America. For example, one, obviously we have weak borders. We have a weak administration. But countries like El Salvador, that was the number one country of terror or killings, gang members, got completely cleaned out by someone like his president. Has done an amazing job in the past 4 years. But some of them had the place to go. They needed a place to go, and they will walk here. So now it's happening. Other countries are starting to want it. And it's happening now in Argentina. It's happening right now in Guatemala. It's happening right now in Ecuador. Ecuador is in a crazy war right now with the drug lords because they said, the Mexican says, we're fighting too much here in Mexico. We don't need this. Mexico is going to change because it's going to become a very powerful a country that is going to do a lot of business with North America, part of being North America. And they got to clean up their act. So one smart drug lord moved to Ecuador, continues to bring the drugs from Colombia, operates his whole mafia through there, and now the president of Ecuador wants them out, just like the one in Salvador. So now we have Argentina, Salvador, Guatemala, and Ecuador. And those people that need to run away, they're going to come to us. Now, I heard the news, you can't lie. Thank God for X now. Thank God for open media. And you find things out. The government of Venezuela is letting the jails open, just like the Cubans did in the Mariel days. And is opening their jail cells and is telling them, if you want to get out, you better walk over there. So who do you think we're getting here? We're getting the scum of the earth. Now, we probably need to be humane for 60% of the people coming here, but what about the 40% that they're useless, that they just don't know better? That's going to affect our country. We're talking about millions of people. Who's doing this? I think this administration is looking the other way because it wants the minority vote. Minorities, when you look at this country is white American, and then you have the blacks, the Lions, the gays, the Indians. You have minorities. When you add the minorities, that's a powerful group. And then obviously you have the whites that feel that that's important too, to protect them. So I don't think they're looking out for ourselves. I think they're looking out to stay in power, just like anyone else in this world. You look at any nation that is in power, nobody wants to walk away. Nobody wants to walk away from that power. And I think that's what's happening right now.
Now, being that you're in real estate, how do you think this is going to affect real estate in the near future?
First of all, I think property values in some of these states are going to affect, because obviously it's not that appealing anymore, that city. You go to California right now, it's incredible. It's all the smells, you piss smell everywhere, homeless everywhere, immigrants everywhere. Is going to affect, there's going to be a lot of child trafficking again. There's going to be a lot of labor abuse. So that doesn't make a city appealing, number one. Number two, where are they going to sleep? So the government, I see the government in the near future having to acquire properties or rent properties so they can shove them all in there. There's not going to be one person per unit, per apartment, or 4 room. It's going to be communities completely, and that's going to create crime. Crime eventually brings the prices down. People driving around without insurance. If people drive around without insurance and they crash, it's going to bring the insurance up. That's going to bring the cost of the communities up. It's going to affect the value of properties. From the real estate standpoint, I see the same issue. If the economy on a particular sector or area is down, every real estate agent is going to suffer the consequences. It's just math. We are letting our country be ruined. Like anything in life, like if you, I'm a firm believer, me that I'm in real estate, I'm a firm believer in, instead of replacing things, is maintenance. So if you want to run a nice office building, you make sure you pay every month to you have your maintenance on your elevator, maintenance on your electrical, maintenance. It will run beautiful for a long time. If you wait for them to break, one thing breaks, the other breaks, your expenses are bigger, nobody's happy when you send them that big bill. So if it works in real estate, what wouldn't work in a community, in a state, on a nation? And we're not maintaining our city the way it is. We just more worried now about solving this situation that is panicking us, that's a problem, versus our own country, our own people. This is not fair, just not fair at all.
So what do you think the solution is?
I think the solution is very clear. We are over 300 million people in this country, and sometimes we got to make decisions, and I'm going to step in territory here that I don't want to, piss people off, but then you got to pick and choose, right? So you have political powers, right? You have the Democrats and you have the Republicans, which I think that's actually they're words that are used to disguise who they really are, right? There is conservatives and liberals, right? So they're called Republicans and Democrats. And the truth is, this is the time to be a little bit more conservative. And just, I'm not saying against the people with sexual preferences or pro-choice. No, not that type of liberal or that type of conservative. The conservative is, this is time to put your house in order. I always tell somebody, if you're running your own house, you don't want anybody to talk about your children. If one of your children is misbehaving, you're going to put him through the ringer, and you got to do what you got to do. Now, you don't want anybody to come and do anything to them. You don't want anybody talking about them. You don't want anybody hurting them. So you're going to protect. So I understand, protect minorities, protect people's rights. I understand. But this is the time to be more conservative about what's happening. This is not about only a preference or an ideal. This is about Russia at war with us. By the way, they just sent us a letter that they want to revert that we purchased Alaska for a couple of $1 million. Well, we bought Alaska a couple of $1 million in the 1800s. They sold it to us cheap. Well, that's the buffer between Russia and us, by the way, because we're right next to each other from that side. And we have a bunch of minerals that we pull out of that. So now they want us because they're in the position of strength. China is going after Taiwan. Taiwan is the one that provides us all the very vital semiconductors for us to build cars, computers, everything. Now China is going after Taiwan, a position of strength. North Korea is displaying all their powers against South Korea. Now they're showing off because they're getting all that income from the Russians, a position of strength against America. Middle East, the entire Middle East now is going against Israel, which happens to be our ally, our friend. We can't turn our back on them. So guess what? A position of strength, and we're right now, America's weak. And Latin America is emptying all their jail cells and sending them to America. And now we saw someone from the Middle East threatening that one day we'll hear who he is and how important he is. On where? Where is he important? So I think the only thing we can do is voting. Voting from the local level, going from the state level, going from the national level, and think about it. Have one thing in mind. This is not the time to talk about sexual preferences or freedom of choice. This is about talking about our home, our country, our community. Protect ourselves against the enemy. And I keep saying this, the only way you can hurt America is not from the outside in, it's from the inside out. And if we don't vote correctly right now, and you know what the beauty is? That president that some people don't want, guess what? It can only be here 4 years. That's it. 4 years. No more than that. So we know that this is a means to an end. But I hate to say it, we need a dragon slayer. And that's the only one. I'm not even going to say the name. You know who it is, the Dragon Slayer, because no one. It is ridiculous. In the history of elections, we know that the current president is not going to run. He's not going to run. He's physically incapable to be, because he won't be a president or reelected until November 6th. So from there is another 4 years. There's no way this man will last 5 years running our country and not making a fool out of himself and us. And putting us in a harm way. So we got to choose a president no matter what angle. Look at where we are. We are already at election year, almost in February, and we still don't know what the other candidate is. You know what is going on? That they are trying to do as much as they can, and it's not going to be pretty the way they want to do it in order for them to continue in power, because it's only a power thirst situation. There's no way that they don't sit down and says, I'm an American man. Nancy Pelosi, $280 million woman, and doesn't sit down and says, wait a second, our border is in trouble. Hey guys, let's talk about it. Aren't you so powerful? Talk about it, do it, do something about it. No, they don't want to lose the grip like any other person when it has power. So go and vote for the right candidate. Interesting that the side that I'm talking about is the right side, regardless of the word right from left. So do what you have to do to make sure that someone, that Dragon Slayer is going to come and protect us for only 4 years. In 4 years, we can make another choice. We can bring another one from the other side. It's okay. You know what the beauty about this country, that every 4 years we get to re-stabilize the ship. If the ship is going a little bit too much to the left or too much to the right, we can always put it right in the center. What we cannot allow is something to be like Venezuela. We cannot allow this country to be like that. That ship will take years to bring it back to its course. We have to bring it right now. I will do that. So now I'm going to make a call here. Realtors for beep. Realtors for beep. I need everyone to start thinking. After all, guys, what do? We go and we do a transaction. We present a property to somebody. That somebody agrees, we get paid a fee. The fee gets paid through a check. We cannot hide that. We only get certain amount of deductions. Can you deduct your car? Can you deduct some of the expenses, some of lunches? But at the end, you have to pay exactly what you take. And after that money, we pay all the insurance that I mentioned previously. Then you have to get up in the morning and be your own self-motivator. The person that provides, the person that creates jobs in this country. We create jobs in this country. Who's protecting us? You have to protect yourself. Let me tell you, like about the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. I don't believe in guns. I don't have a gun. I don't want a gun. But don't take that right from me, because what's happening in the border, I hate to say it, we better be armed as a country. And if we didn't have that right, now think about all that massive immigration from people that we don't know. And this was a country that never had guns. We are harm's way at any given time. So even though that I don't believe in guns, I believe in my Second Amendment and the right to have it. This is the time not to stop thinking, in my opinion, and they want to do that, or no. Protect the house. Protect your home. Protect your home in a macro way, which is your country. The way I love this country, many people born here don't love it, because I was born in Colombia, and unfortunately a man that decided to sell some drugs and become very wealthy, decided to destroy and put bombs as he pleased just to kill one man. To kill one man, he'll kill 100. I have to immigrate to Venezuela. And when I was happy living in a beautiful country, back then, it was the country of honey and milk. Guess what? The left came right in, and Chavez took over. And then from Chavez, Maduro. So I flee that country. How is that country? How is that ship? It took too many years in one direction. Where is that? Cuba. Cuba was beautiful. It was beautiful. The reason, what I heard about Cuba is that the Cubans will get a ferry and will bring their Mercedes-Benz to Miami Beach to come and enjoy in the weekend, and then get back in their ferries and go back to their Cuba. And how is it now? That ship, it will take too many years to turn back. We only have 4 years with this option that we have, our Dragon Slayer. Everything I said, you need to consider one thing. I am an immigrant. My mother and everybody that I brought a bunch of people. You want to know something cruel? Want to know something really cruel? My sister came in with me practically. We came here within 2 months of difference, right? My sister got her residency 28 years after. For 28 years, she was in the shadows. And then you cross the border today, immediately they register you, and they give you some option to stay here. And they're going to forgive you for coming here through the border. And we came here from being the sons of a surgeon, and we came on a plane. The whole thing, the whole immigration reform is required ASAP. So this podcast, I don't know, went from real estate to political, but there's not going to be any real estate if we don't really see through the problem. And the only solution to the problem is through November 5th. So that's what I think.